Hi everyone, I'm Emily Longeretta.
And I'm Michael Schneider, and welcome to Variety's Awards Circuit, where this time out we're analyzing and dissecting the hottest winter TV awards races. On this episode, we're looking at the limited series and anthology frontrunners heading into the Golden Globes, SAG Awards, and other kudos. And Emily, you've had a lot of experience talking about this show.
I have Dahmer Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer Story.
It's just meat.
I'm not eating that.
It's taken over Netflix. It's gotten over 1 billion hours viewed. Of course, Golden Globe nominees Evan Peters, Niecy Nash, Richard Jenkins. This is such a huge hit for them.
Yeah, Evan Peters, I mean, he's been phenomenal in a lot of things that he's done, including a lot of things that he's done with Ryan Murphy. But this is probably his biggest show with Ryan to date, and it's definitely paid off.
Everyone really has loved him, and I think they saw some awards recognition for him in Mare of Easttown, but he's never really gotten the awards love when it comes to something like this, some of the darker things. So I'm curious if we see that maybe he'll take home a win for this.
Yeah, there's nothing like playing a serial killer to maybe finally get some awards love.
That's right, gotta make those transformations. That's what takes home an award.
So, you know, the interesting thing about limited series is these days, so many of these projects are about real life people, real life events, and Pam and Tommy is a perfect example of that.
You don't seem to understand what a big deal this is.
I'm on that tape just the same as you.
Pam and Tommy is a show that I'm not sure a lot of people were thinking was an awards play, but it has become a huge awards juggernaut. Big nominee at the Emmys, and now for Golden Globes as well. Lily James is nominated, Sebastian Stan, Seth Rogen. I was really impressed by this show and how they really did a great job recreating the time frame, but also really getting us to rethink what happened and how it impacted Pamela Anderson.
It really created a world that we may not have known, even though we all thought we knew. It's hard when you take on such a topic that is very much in the spotlight and take a different spin on it, and they did a really great job with that. Another true story that was actually adapted for Apple TV Plus is Blackbird.
Dad, tell me there's a way out of this.
Not a quick one.
Has gotten a couple Globes nominees, Taron Egerton and Paul Walter Hauser. Ray Liotta also got some love at the Critics' Choice nominations. I think this is a show that, again, about a really heavy topic. I think that's something we're seeing a lot of these true stories about a serial killer. And it's over 6 episodes that are pretty dark and heavy, but people are loving it.
The tense nature of Taron Egerton's character and trying to sort of infiltrate and get a confession out of a serial killer. And Paul Walter Hauser is also a revelation, playing a dark character, sort of something very different for him. Really interesting in how he approached that.
Absolutely. I'm very excited to see, and I hope that he gets some love for this.
Yeah. Different kind of legal trouble, not necessarily murder, but nonetheless, the Dropout.
True story.
The world works in certain ways until a new great idea comes along and changes everything.
The Dropout was another real fun adaptation this year. And of course, Amanda Seyfried, who also won the Emmy, is nominated for the Globes, but you've got Navina Andrews, William H. Macy, Sam Waterston, who you're a fan of.
Sam Waterston. And Laurie Metcalf, one of your favorites.
One of my favorites. I mean, this was a show that was stacked with a great cast. And Liz Merriweather, who of course was the creator of New Girl, was also the writer-showrunner of this and brought a lot of humor to what was also a dark subject in this woman and how she defrauded a lot of people out of a lot of money. The fun nature of this show, I think, really made it stand out from a lot of the true crime stories that we saw this year.
Yeah, again, another story that you kind of thought you knew and taking a different spin on it. I laughed out loud multiple episodes.
Yeah, a lot of the awkward dancing I really enjoyed.
I think speaking of some awkwardness, a good transition into our next one, Inventing Anna.
I just had some questions. What's you wearing? You look Paul.
Of course, Julia Garner. You call her awards catnip.
Yeah, she's absolutely awards catnip in everything that she's done. And Inventing Anna is another example of her transformation from that voice, the mannerisms, and sort of becoming this character, this real life person who is a character.
It's a very interesting story, taking a little bit of a different angle on it, of course, told by the point of view from Anna Chlumsky's character. Laverne Cox and Anders Holm also are in it, and really, really good and funny in it. So I think that this is such a great example of a show that mixes, again, comedy, drama. This limited series tells a story that people can't get enough of.
So some of these shows that we've been talking about are psychological thrillers, but I think none like The Patient.
I've read all the books, almost everything about people like me.
First off, half hour, which give me more half-hour dramas.
Yes, please.
There's too much TV, and so I appreciated the patient from that level. The storytelling, it was very simple in the basement of this house the entire time. Steve Carell, of course, is the prisoner, but Domhnall Gleeson, who is nominated at the Golden Globes, was the real sort of standout here as the serial killer who is keeping him hostage.
Yeah, and I think it was something different for both of them. Anyone who's watched anything with Steve Carell or Domhnall Gleeson, you have never seen either of them in this kind of role. So I think that's exciting too for viewers to see something different.
And also something different for the Jays, the creators of The Americans, of course, who are also behind The Patient, doing something different, but bringing some of the cleverness that they showed in writing The Americans all these years in The Patient as well. You know, this was a really interesting serial killer who's also a foodie, who brings home some of the best food ever for his prisoner. Little pieces like that I really kind of appreciated from this show.
Those details that they're so great at.
And did I mention it's only 30 minutes an episode? Can we have more of that, please?
A dream, please. Well, they are all about the details. Another show that is all about the details that we may have already talked about before is The White Lotus.
Yeah, this is category confusion because we purposely talked about The White Lotus during drama because some award shows are now categorizing it as a drama, but others are still categorizing it as an anthology series. Dogs and cats living together, who knows?
I don't care where it is. I'm happy it's here.
What is going on with you?
There's a reason they invited us here. You sold your company, you got rich, and now he's your best friend?
Jennifer Coolidge, Aubrey Plaza, F. Murray Abraham, but the rest of the cast is also really great. I want to call out Megan Fahey, who didn't get this nomination, but I'm hoping she'll still get some love down the line.
Yeah.
Mike White, of course, writer, producer, director on this show, and just kills it.
Yeah, and as we speak, we
Literally.
finally actually got to see the finale, and holy crap.
Yeah, I'm in shock. I don't want to give spoilers, but I'm in shock, and I think if that does anything for award season, this show is going to be one that we're talking about for a while.
Yeah, I think that finale actually just lifted its chances at the award shows too.
Good timing.
So, well, let's turn to our dark horse favorites now, the shows that we'd like to give a little extra push. So on the limited and anthology side, Emily, what do you got?
I'm going to go with another heavy one. A Friend of the Family on Peacock was one that was really, really emotional. It told a very, very dark story about a girl who was kidnapped by the same man twice, and the kidnapper was played by Jake Lacy, who absolutely gave a performance no one had ever seen before. The last time we'd seen him, of course, was on The White Lotus, and this character is very different, very dark. And I think that overall the show just really, really stood out as a great, great story. So I'm really hoping that that gets some love.
Yeah, it's a long way from The Office, back when he was a comedy actor.
Very different situation now.
Well, my pick, and you've heard me talk about Station 11 a lot, because this was a show that I just really adored this year. It really is a show for our times as well, because it's about a pandemic that wipes out most of the Earth's population, and the aftermath 20 years later, this cast reminiscing about where they've been, where they're going. Mackenzie Davis, Hamish Patel, Lori Petty, Daniel Deadweiler, a show that really stuck with me more than most shows this year. I'm still thinking about it months after watching it.
And that's the telltale, right? With all the TV on right now, if you're still thinking about it, then it made an impact.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you haven't seen it yet, please do. But I think that wraps it up for long form and anthology. So please join us again next time for another edition of Award Circuit.
Thanks for watching.